I even tried searching for the organization on LinkedIn and came up empty-handed. Who's running this? Hi, I'm Sable, founder and digital event marketing strategist at Sequin Soirée. Welcome back to Style Chat, a weekly conversation series exploring my honest takes about what's working, what's missing, and what's next for fashion, beauty, and lifestyle events. The next Fashion Week season will be here before we know it. And whether you're a designer, creative, or fashion lover, your feed might be getting prepped to be full of event invites and exclusive runway experiences. But not every event is what it seems. In this episode, I want to talk about my experience researching Small Boutique Fashion Week in Seattle back in October. This is a real-life example of how a fashion event can look legitimate on the surface with sleek visuals, sold-out claims, national tours, etc., but still raise a lot of red flags once you look closer. We're not here to expose anybody or tear anyone down. This is about awareness, transparency, and helping you make informed decisions before wasting your time or money. And since I'm mentioning an event producer by name, I want to be as respectful as possible while I share what I found through my own research. If you've had any personal experiences with this organization, I want to hear about it. So make sure to chat with me if you're watching live during the premiere or comment below. Of course, let's keep it respectful, but feel free to share your honest experiences. Over the years, Small Boutique Fashion Week has popped up on my radar. It never looked interesting enough to purchase a ticket and attend though, mainly because I've developed a level of discernment to know what to look for in a legit fashion event. That's not to say this event producer isn't legit, but there were a few red flags that kept me from purchasing a ticket. So let's talk about it. From my first impression, seemingly high-quality images were used in the Eventbrite ticket marketing. There was a healthy amount of upcoming event listings. Some were marked as sold-out events across multiple cities, and the listings included international events in Paris and London. But looking closer at their full list of events, I started to question, if they host this many events, how come I never hear anyone talking about them? I decided to do some sleuthing about this company to see what I could find. Maybe it was just the Eventbrite page that turned me off. I hope that their website would give me more insight into their brand and what they stand for. So here's what I found. Mismatched dates. For the event hosted in Seattle, the Eventbrite listing said Saturday, October 25th, but the website said Saturday, August 9th. Two completely different dates for the same show. So did it already happen, or was that just a typo? Broken links. The Instagram link on their website didn't work. It could be an oversight, but it's not a good look for an organization that claims to have a global reach. Stock images. Much of their photos and video content look like stock images that were too generic for a global organization that has the opportunity to build a large collection of event visuals. Front of the house images of the guests, runway shots, back of the house chaos. I didn't see any of that on their website. Sure, I eventually found that type of content on their Instagram, but as an event marketer, I understand that social media platforms are rented space. If any of those platforms go dark for any reason, all that content is lost. Your website is your digital headquarters that you own. All of your content should have a home there, regardless of which social platforms you occupy. Military time format. Depending on what device you are using to view the listing, the time is either displayed as military time, which was on my phone, or the standard 12-hour format, which was on my desktop. It's a small detail, but those small details matter. Clear and consistent audience-friendly communication across all devices is event planning 101. Runway and pop-up shop combo event. The event was advertised as a runway show and pop-up marketplace. In my experience, if my main goal of attending a fashion show is to see a collection on the runway, that's what I'm focused on. I'm not necessarily interested in shopping at a fashion show, especially if I spent money just to get into the venue. And speaking of pricing, the early bird tickets were still live the day before the scheduled event, and the VIP price dropped from around $100 per person to a $55 total 2-for-1 deal. If I had paid full price for one VIP ticket only to see that the price had been cut in half for 2 people to attend, I'd be pissed. It's giving panic pricing. Like not enough people are purchasing tickets, so they're hoping the lower price will incentivize people to attend. Also, all of the ticket sales are non-refundable, even though no designer lineup was published. Speaking of the designer lineup, I would expect more emphasis on highlighting the participating designers in every city consistently on each marketing channel. Otherwise, who are these supposed attendees buying tickets to see? Who all gonna be there? It was disappointing to not see a list of confirmed designers anywhere the night before the event was scheduled to take place. Their Instagram feed didn't share any information about events outside of New York, London, and Paris. What about LA, Phoenix, Denver, Miami, Seattle? Nothing. I also didn't see any Seattle-based designers tagging the event producer. Usually when shows are about to happen, designers, models, makeup artists, and stylists are posting sneak peeks, rehearsals, fittings, and other behind-the-scenes content. That pre-event buzz is what keeps fashion events alive online. If I were in charge of marketing, I would have definitely offered small discounted affiliate links to the designers to encourage their audiences to attend. I didn't see any of that online. When you can't find any local chatter or confirmation that an event is happening, that's a clear sign to pause before purchasing a ticket. Legitimate productions always have some kind of footprint, even if it's just one post. Another thing that doesn't quite add up. Including boutique in the event name suggests that boutique owners or buyers will be in attendance to discover new designers for their retail stores. That's what boutique signals to me. And that would be a significant draw to incentivize designers to participate in the runway show. But there's no mention of buyer attendance on their platforms. If you're positioning yourself as a trade platform, there should be at least some B2B structure, buyer outreach, wholesale lookbooks, or post-show networking opportunities. Without that, the name feels misleading. It positions the event as more of a paid showcase rather than a buyer-attended trade show. This isn't necessarily wrong since the majority of fashion shows, in my opinion, seem to be more about exposure than retail orders, but clarity matters. Designers need to know what they're investing in. Instead, looking closer at their website, there was a designer registration link, which I assume is to apply to feature their collections on the runway, and a separate vendor registration link for designers to act as their own boutique and sell their items at the pop-up market. So essentially, designers are spending up to $2,000 per event to show their collections and up to $650 to sell their pieces at 6 different locations, which adds up even more when you include travel expenses for each location. That setup isn't necessarily a scam, but if I were a designer, I don't know if this format would be worth it for me to participate. If you're a new designer applying to participate in something like this, it's important to understand what you're signing up for. Are you getting exposure, or are you expected to sell your own products at a pop-up? Can you even afford to participate? Make sure you're clear on these goals before agreeing to these types of events. Personally, I don't think paying for exposure makes sense when you have access to free social media platforms. Something else that always catches my attention is when event producers call a 1 or 2 day event a fashion week. A true fashion week is a multi-day industry event organized around a citywide calendar. It involves industry professionals in every lane: designers, buyers, boutique owners, marketers, publicists, journals, stylists, influencers, etc. When smaller producers use this title for a single-day event or a weekend pop-up, it's usually for a marketing appeal. It sounds more official, but it can also create false expectations for everyone involved. From an event marketing standpoint, I think it's more unique to set your brand apart from every other fashion week. Coming up with an event name that embodies the essence and goals of your event is much more effective than using a generic fashion week tag. Because words matter in marketing. If you're calling your event a fashion week, it should function like one, or be transparent that it's a showcase or a market. Accurate naming builds trust. Without it, you risk getting lost in the cluster of every other so-called fashion week. I looked up their Better Business Bureau profile. Not great. A few designers reported negative experiences and labeled it a scam. I also checked YouTube for coverage. The most recent videos were between 1 and 9 years old. Nothing current to say they're producing multiple events throughout the year. I dove deep into all these details coincidentally the day before the Seattle event was supposed to happen. So I decided to check out the event for myself. I didn't purchase a ticket, but I did drive by the venue to see if anything was actually happening. Okay, so it's currently Saturday, October 25th at 6:02 p.m. I was gonna go and drive by the venue of this small boutique fashion week event to see if there was any activity. But something told me to check their Eventbrite ticket page just one more time before I left the house. Do you know they changed the date today? Because I checked yesterday and it was October 25th. They changed the date to January 25th. 3 months from now. I would assume that's a Saturday. It's a Sunday. Why would they do that? I also checked their Instagram to see if they'd made a public announcement about it. Nothing. The latest reel doesn't mention it, and their latest Instagram post on their feed doesn't mention it either. I'm trying not to call this event a scam, but I would at least hope they notified people who purchased tickets and the designers, of course. But from an outsider's perspective, you don't publicly change the date until the day you're supposed to host the event. That ain't good. And it's also not good for me because after doing my little drive-by, I was going to go to Chick-fil-A. Now I don't have a good excuse to go to Chick-fil-A aside from it's Saturday and they're closed on Sunday. But I'm probably still going to go because I'm already dressed. But that's such a bummer. This is not how you market fashion events. This is not how you run them. I at least hope people got notifications about ticket refunds if they can't make the new date, if the new date even happens. It looks like they're not as organized as they should be. Okay, so I'm back from Chick-fil-A and I decided to just drive by the venue just to see where it was. The address listed on Eventbrite was 211 South Washington Street in Seattle. So that's in the Pioneer Square area. If you know about Seattle, you know Pioneer Square is not the safest area to be in, especially at night. But I drove by the building and it's the location of the Seattle Union Mission. And there's also a men's shelter in that same building. So I'm not exactly sure if that's where they want to host a fashion event. There was also very limited parking. I couldn't record the actual building because I was driving. And as I was driving away, I was thinking maybe they're just using this as an event marketing strategy to bring more attention to the events they actually post about on their Instagram. That's not the best marketing tactic to use, in my opinion. I honestly don't think a January 25th event is happening in Seattle. It's probably one of the worst times to host a fashion event in Seattle. It's cold, it's wet, it's dark. It's probably gonna snow. Ain't nobody going outside, especially to that location. No way. Absolutely not. No way. So those are my findings. And if you currently work for small boutique fashion week and you see this, feel free to reach out to me and explain to me what your process is for marketing your events. I've seen a list of events marked sold out on your website. Were they actually sold out? Did you actually host those? So y'all got me turned into Sherlock Holmes over here. I'm kind of dumbfounded that this type of marketing is happening in 2025, but it is what it is, child. I have not even filmed the sit-down portion of this style chat yet, but back to that portion, I guess. To be fair, I respect the mission. Helping smaller designers gain exposure is important, but consistency matters. If your marketing strategy, website, and ticketing information don't align, it creates confusion and distrust. I wouldn't call this event series a scam since it looks like people are showing up to the events they actually host, and at least from the narrative they're displaying on their social channels, designers are benefiting. But I honestly still wouldn't pay to attend this event. I would love to see the organization optimize its digital marketing strategy and integrate their events into each city's unique environment to better give off the impression that they understand these different fashion communities. Otherwise, if they aren't getting any real interest in their event in specific cities, just don't host them. Now that we've seen how it plays out in real time, here's what to look for when researching any fashion event. Vague or recycled images and descriptions. If every city's event uses identical copy, they're not customizing or updating details, it's lazy marketing at best and misleading at worst. No designer or speaker lineup. Legitimate shows list who's participating. If that info is coming soon up until the day of the event, skip it. Conflicting dates or locations. Double check the date listed on the website versus the ticketing platform. Mismatched information equals a lack of attention to detail and organization. Broken links or non-existent social content. Broken Instagram or website links show neglect and no real community engagement aside from clout-based comments. Non-refundable everything. It's fine if it's a major event with a positive reputation, but not if it's a new or unverified event with a questionable online reputation. Early bird pricing too close to the show date. Early bird tickets should close weeks in advance. Last minute discounts usually signal weak sales. Runway and pop-up mix. Two different objectives, creative showcase versus commercial sales. Combining them can signal a lack of production clarity. No recent press or user content. If no one's talking about it online, guest photos, designer recaps, tag videos, it's not giving global event. Too many sold out listings with little proof. Many of their past events are marked as sold out, but recaps of those sold out shows are scarce. As an event marketer, that doesn't sit right with me, because if I sold out multiple events recently, I'll be shouting that from the rooftops. That's proof of performance. Without that, the sold out label feels more like a marketing ploy than a milestone. No contact transparency. Missing organizer names, media contacts, or real email addresses are a major red flag. I even tried searching for the organization on LinkedIn and came up empty-handed. Who's running this? This isn't about discouraging independent fashion events. It's about helping them raise their standards and helping you, the attendee or designer, make informed decisions when it comes to which rooms to effectively occupy. Always research before you register. Check dates, reviews, and social proof. If something doesn't add up, trust your instincts. Fashion should inspire you, not confuse or worse, scam you. If you've attended a small boutique fashion week event, if you were a designer that showed your collection or sold pieces from your collection, or even if you were an intern volunteering your time to produce one of these events, I'd love to hear your experience in the chat or comments. Of course, please be respectful, but your honest takes on this event series will give more people better insight into whether it's worth their time and money. That's all for this week's conversation. Thanks for joining me. Make sure to like and subscribe for future style chats. And if you're gearing up to host your next fashion event and need a little assistance with a knockout marketing strategy, visit this website to schedule your strategy session today. See y'all in the next one. Bye.